The rise and fall of the Dutch East India Company, 1602 to 1796, 20th of March, 1602. A fleet of heavily laden ships, their sails billowing under a crisp autumn sky, slowly navigates the intricate waterways of Amsterdam. On board, spices from distant lands, pepper, nutmeg, cloves, fill the air with exotic scents, promising immense wealth to the merchants who await their arrival. This scene was not just a testament to Dutch maritime prowess, it marked the beginning of an unprecedented economic experiment, one that would redefine global trade and corporate power. The entity responsible for this burgeoning trade was the Verenigde Oost-Indische Compagnie, or VOC, the Dutch East India Company. Born from the amalgamation of several smaller trading ventures, it quickly became the most powerful corporation the world had ever seen. Its history is a fascinating saga of ambition, innovation, brutal competition, and eventual decline, demonstrating how the pursuit of profit could reshape empires and economies alike. Before the VOC, European trade with Asia was a fragmented and perilous enterprise. Portuguese dominance, established through figures like Vasco da Gama in the late 15th century, had initially monopolized the highly lucrative spice routes. However, by the late 16th century, other European powers, particularly the English and the Dutch, sought to break this stranglehold. The competition among Dutch companies themselves was fierce, driving down profits and making voyages increasingly risky. This unsustainable model spurred a revolutionary idea. In 1602, under the urging of the States General of the Netherlands, the various Dutch voorcompagnieën, or pre-companies, were merged into a single, unified entity, the VOC. This consolidation was not merely administrative, it was a strategic masterstroke. The new company was granted a 21-year monopoly on all Dutch trade east of the Cape of Good Hope and west of the Strait of Magellan. More importantly, it was endowed with quasi-governmental powers, unprecedented for a private corporation. The VOC could wage war, negotiate treaties, mint its own coins, and establish colonies. It was, in essence, a state within a state, funded by publicly traded shares. This innovative structure allowed the VOC to raise vast amounts of capital from a wide range of investors, from wealthy merchants to ordinary citizens, effectively pioneering the modern stock market. Its initial capital stood at 640,200 Dutch guilders, an astronomical sum for the era. Armed with this formidable capital and unique powers, the VOC rapidly expanded its operations across Asia. Its primary focus was the Moluccas, also known as the Spice Islands, the sole source of highly prized nutmeg, mace, and cloves. To secure this monopoly, the company deployed a ruthless strategy. In 1621, under the governorship of Jan Pieterszoon Coen, the VOC launched a brutal campaign against the inhabitants of the Banda Islands, the main producers of nutmeg. Coen's forces massacred or enslaved nearly the entire indigenous population of Banda, replacing them with Dutch planters and slave labor. This act of extreme violence solidified the VOC's control over the nutmeg trade, ensuring astronomical profits but leaving an indelible stain on its legacy. Similar tactics, though perhaps less extreme, were used to secure control over other crucial spice-producing regions. The VOC's logistical network was a marvel of its time. Fleets of heavily armed East Indiamen, large, sturdy sailing ships, would make the perilous journey from the Netherlands to Asia, a voyage that could take up to 8 months. These ships carried European goods, silver, and soldiers eastward, returning with holds full of spices, silks, porcelain, and other exotic commodities. The company established a vast network of trading posts, forts, and settlements from the Cape of Good Hope to Japan, creating a truly global enterprise. At its zenith in the mid-17th century, the VOC was an economic colossus. Its peak market valuation, when adjusted for inflation and compared to modern GDP, is estimated to have been around 78 million Dutch guilders in 1637, which translates to roughly $7.9 trillion in today's money. This made it worth more than Apple, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft combined at their peak valuations in the 2020s. A colossus, it employed nearly 36,000 people, commanded a private army of 10,000 soldiers, and operated a fleet of over 150 merchant ships and 40 warships. The VOC's influence extended far beyond trade. It profoundly shaped the economies and cultures of both the Netherlands and the regions it colonized. In the Netherlands, the influx of wealth fueled the Dutch Golden Age, supporting art, science, and urban development. In Asia, its presence often led to exploitation, conflict, and the brutal suppression of local populations, particularly in the Indonesian archipelago. However, even the most powerful empires eventually faced challenges. By the late 17th and 18th centuries, the VOC began to experience increasing difficulties. The administrative costs of maintaining such a vast network of trading posts and fortifications became astronomical. Corruption among company officials was rampant, with many engaging in private trade for personal gain, diverting profits away from the company. Competition from the British East India Company intensified, leading to costly wars and proxy conflicts. The Fourth Anglo-Dutch War, 1780 to 1784, proved particularly devastating, severely disrupting the VOC's trade routes and leading to immense financial losses. Furthermore, changing global tastes and the rise of new commodities like tea and coffee, which the VOC was slower to adapt to, eroded its market dominance. The company's rigid, bureaucratic structure, once its strength, became a weakness. It struggled to innovate and respond quickly to shifting market demands and geopolitical changes. By the late 18th century, the VOC was deeply in debt, reliant on state bailouts, and increasingly seen as an anachronism. The rise of Enlightenment ideals and calls for free trade also challenged the very concept of monopolistic chartered companies. The final blow came with the Batavian Revolution in the Netherlands, a period of political upheaval influenced by the French Revolution. The new Batavian Republic, established in 1795, was ideologically opposed to the private, monopolistic nature of the VOC. On December 31, 799, the Dutch East India Company's charter was allowed to expire, officially dissolving the company and transferring its remaining assets and debts to the Batavian state. The collapse of the VOC marked the end of an era, but its legacy is profound and complex. It pioneered many aspects of modern capitalism: the public limited company, tradable shares, and a truly global supply chain. Its financial innovations laid the groundwork for modern stock markets and corporate finance. Yet its history is also a stark reminder of the brutal costs of unchecked corporate power and colonial exploitation, particularly in the form of slavery and violence against indigenous populations. The former territories and trading posts of the VOC in the East Indies would eventually form the core of the Dutch colonial empire, which persisted for another century and a half as the Dutch East Indies. The story of the VOC serves as a powerful historical case study, illustrating the incredible potential and inherent dangers when immense wealth and quasi-sovereign power are concentrated in a private entity. It forces us to confront enduring questions about corporate responsibility, the ethics of global trade, and the true cost of economic dominance. What lessons can we draw from the rise and fall of this corporate giant in our own interconnected world? The immense fortunes amassed, the innovative financial structures, and the devastating human cost all echo in contemporary discussions about multinational corporations. If you found this journey through the annals of economic history compelling, please like this video, subscribe to Money and Empires for more deep dives into the fortunes of the past, and leave a comment below telling us which forgotten empire or economic power you'd like us to explore next. Our next episode will delve into the intricate financial web that underpinned the Roman Empire, revealing how its fiscal policies contributed to both its unprecedented rise and its ultimate decline.